listening to the Sports Desk on Sin 90.7 with Liam and Alex.
Good morning.
And we're going to kick right off into it. We've got a big show. We're going to talk Melbourne Cup. We're going to talk Melbourne Derby. Going to talk all things Melbourne. I'm going to talk the World Series, which is going on over in the US.
Yes, maybe the last game today.
Maybe. Maybe we'll play. Maybe they'll play three more. We don't know.
Maybe the Cubs going to make a comeback.
Oh, that would be a hell of a comeback series.
Well, it happened. Did happen in the NBA this year.
Yeah, true. The Warriors did
Choke in the end, and Cavaliers made a comeback. So
yeah. Hopefully, it's the Cleveland team that chokes this time, not the other one.
Too bad in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns are last. So
yeah, no.
Could have been a good 3P for Cleveland.
The Cleveland Browns are a bit behind, but still, good luck on Cleveland.
Yeah.
1948.
Yeah. 1948 versus 1908. So either way, the record will be broken. The good year of records being broken.
Yeah, so you got that going on. But first, we're gonna bit more AFL drama going on.
Unless you've been living under a rock for the last week, I think everyone in the dog knows that Garry Ablett came to his club, the Gold Coast Suns, and asked for a trade back to Geelong, claiming homesickness. As everyone knows, Garry Ablett is the current captain of the Gold Coast Suns. So any club losing their captain, which, well, unless you're the Bulldogs, when it was a blessing in disguise and they got Tom Boyd to win a premiership, isn't really a good thing.
Delist him. What? I didn't say that.
Who's Ablett? Who needs Ablett? Get Nathan back.
But yeah, I think Ablett's it's a bit late, man. He's a bit too old.
He's 32. Really hasn't had a good game since he did his shoulder, and that's the biggest question with Gold Coast. The biggest what if, I think, for the Gold Coast Suns, if Ablett never did his shoulder against Collingwood in 2014. Gold Coast would have gone on and made finals, we'll just most likely say, because they were like 3 games in the 8 at the time.
Oh.
I think they would have gone on, made the finals, and then players probably like O'Meara and Pressia probably would not have left, and the Gold Coast Suns would have been a completely different team than they are now.
I have issues with saying that Gold Coast. So the issue that I've seen is that every time Ablett's not there, they flop, they fall apart. That was an issue when they were starting up. That was a definite issue when they were starting up. As soon as Ablett got injured and couldn't play for a week, you knew the Suns were going to lose that game.
Yeah, which I think is good now, considering they now have 2 All-Australians in their lineup. I know that's not saying much, but having another All-Australian in Tom Lynch in their lineup shows that the team is on the rise. I know the team I go for, Fremantle, didn't have an All-Australian until 2002, which was Matthew Pavlich in fullback.
Oh, yeah.
Out of any position, it was Pavlich in fullback. So, apart from Ablett, who's, how good he is, Tom Lynch is, I'll say, Gold Coast's first true All-Australian in terms of, not the AFL's best player.
Yeah, he is probably, considering from Gold Coast. I can see what you mean, but, it still bothers me that, I still think there's just a bit of a reliance on Ablett that they just haven't quite managed to shake.
Yeah, I think that's been the biggest issue for ever since they came in. I know people did say if Gold Coast did lose Ablett, it would have been catastrophic. I disagree. I do think, I've been saying it pretty much ever since I've started talking about footy on radio, so since July, that Gold Coast, in pretty much like a bad movie series, they need a reboot. Instead of basing their team around Ablett, they should base their team around whoever's the next captain, which is, well, I've heard Lynch, but now I'm hearing Lynch and Stephen May co-captains.
Yeah?
So
yeah, I could see that happening.
Basing your team around those two, and instead of Ablett, and I think I said to you, I can't remember, that next year Ablett should play as a forward, not a midfielder. Play him as a coming forward, because that's how he started his career off in Geelong.
Yeah.
So, and that's one thing I don't get. Ablett and Bryce Gibbs are 2 good examples of this. They signed these big contracts. Last year, Ablett signed for 3 years, Gibbs signed for 5. And then not even halfway through their contract, they requested a trade.
Yeah.
I just find that confusing how players sign these big contracts and ask for a trade back to their home club because they get homesickness.
Yeah, you're right about that. I always get a bit iffy when they do that because it's like, oh, if you're gonna do that, why bother being there in the first place when you can just stay at your club?
Did you see this thing? It was actually on Instagram the other day. It was players who's recently departed the club talking about the club. So it was like Deledio talking about how he signed this contract and he's going to be a Brisbane player for life. Pierce Hanley said the same thing, how he's so happy to be a Brisbane player for life. And AFL is a weird sport, and I really wish one day I could just be inside an AFL club for a year and just see what goes on because, once a player can be all happy, sign a 5-year deal, and then halfway through goes, I want to go home.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times I've noticed it's with the younger players.
Yeah,
and I just think it's like by the time that they're like when they're younger, they're like, yeah, sure, I'll sign all these deals. Yeah, let's go. I'm really keen. I want to play footy, and then like they get a bit older and they mature a bit more, and they're like, I miss home.
And that's another thing.
Home to me is on the other side of the country that I can't visit, like, unless I'm playing footy there.
And that's another thing to me, especially when it comes to, like, if you've read Jonathan Brown's book or Matthew Pavlich's book, they both stated that there was a point in their career where they wanted to go home.
Yeah. And
then they're the two, when you talk about probably the loyal three, you think of Revolt, Brown and Pavlich.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. I guarantee if there was social media back in those days, both of them probably would have head back to their home state.
Yeah.
I know Pavlich in his book was in 2001. And he was still contracted until the end of 2002.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes to the free player, I want to go home. They're like, get back to work.
Yeah.
Then he actually went to Perth with went to Adelaide with his dad and met with Mark Williams.
Yeah.
And nothing came from that actually. And
I think there's also become more awareness of like players' mental, like their mentality and how they feel in order to playing styles. Because if you don't want to play, that doesn't want to play for you.
Yeah, that's what I think. Ablett will be fine. I don't think Ablett's performance will change. I know he does. He probably hasn't want to be in Gold Coast the last 3 years, anyways. But I don't think it will change. I think Ablett will be as hard next year as he was usually.
Yeah, I know, because I know Hill wanted to go to Freo because his family's from there and his brother's playing for Freo.
See, I know this might just be me, but I know Hill did get into a bit of trouble. Most of the time, I know there was the assault charge.
Yeah.
And earlier on, there was him and another player, which was proven innocent, but there was another incident.
Yeah, there were charges, and overall they got dismissed and whatnot, but still.
But I just think maybe that's the reason.
That's probably part of the reason.
And a bit like Harley Brunel as well, who got in a bit of trouble down at the Gold Coast and then wanted to go home. Maybe being with our family, you're probably more grounded.
Yeah. Also, like I said, he's from Thing and his brother plays for Freo, so it might have all reached a boiling point. Also, and it's one of those ones where he's had it's played well for Hawthorn. It's not like he's done nothing and it's like, no, I want to go home now.
Well, when it comes to Bradley Hill, I've just said he was the best player for that position. If you had someone better on the wing, Hill probably wouldn't be in the team.
Yeah.
Then he does play some really good games, but then he's played some very average games as well.
We're going to leave it there for the AFL talk. We're going to be back with cricket.
We'll talk about cricket, and then after that we'll probably talk about the A-League.
Yeah, this is Creep by Radiohead. You're listening to Sports Desk on Sin 90.7. That was Creep by Radiohead, and you're listening to the Sports Desk on Sin 90.7 with Liam and Alex. And we're going to jump into the cricket with... England played last night, and, they were playing Bangladesh.
Which is an okay nation. They're not good. They're not bad.
Oh, they're not a bad nation. I mean, they can certainly offer up some tough competition, which is certainly what they did over there, considering that, considering that England got off to a strong start with, of their second.
They're chasing the 296.
Yeah, they were chasing 296, and they started off with none for 100.
And they look prime.
Yeah, look keen, look prime, and then they're all out by 164.
Oh, they dropped. Pretty much. So the 23rd over was when they lost their first wicket. So 1 for 100, and then it was 2 for 105, 3 for 124, 4 for 124, 5 for 127. 6 for 139, 7 for 161, 8 for 161, 9 for 161, and then 10 for 164.
Yeah, they
And
just dropped
that is
like
a
flies.
Massive drop.
You know, Root got out for 1, Ali out for a duck, Balance out for 5, Stokes made 25, Besto 3, Wokes 9, Rashid, Ansari, and Finn all out on ducks. Rashid made out on a golden duck.
And the only unfortunate thing for me was that the 3 outs for 161 happened in the 42nd and 3rd, 42nd and 4th, and then 42nd and 5th. So it wasn't the hat trick.
Just missed the hat trick.
Just missed the hat trick.
I mean, to be fair, when you've taken like 3 wickets anyway, even if it's not a hat trick, I'm keen.
Oh, yeah. But,
Jeez. Miraz took 6 of the wickets.
Nice.
He got 6 wickets for 77 runs, with 2 maidens off 21.3 overs. Overall, I think I'd be pretty happy with that performance.
Oh yeah,
It's not Nathan Lyons. What was it, 4 for 10 in the Shield final?
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing like that, but still, Miraz overall in this match, he's taken 12 wickets. He's had a 12-wicket game, sort of thing.
Probably man of the match.
I would be surprised if he was man of the match. I'd be surprised because if he wasn't, 12 wickets for 159 runs,
which isn't a bad effort.
No, it's an economy of 3.23, which is overall something you want.
And let's go back to our straws now. Starting up on Thursday, Australia is playing South Africa in the first test, first of 3. If anyone's aware of what happened last time Australia played South Africa, it was in the 1 days over in South Africa, and they lost 5-0. So I think we should be hoping for a better test series than we did in our 1 days.
Yeah, I hope so. Considering also we're playing over here, we're not playing over there.
Yeah, it's a big summer of cricket.
Yeah.
We've got we play the 3 tests, and then we play like 3 1 days against New Zealand. Then we play, I think, a number 3 test against Pakistan.
Yeah, we play Pakistan kicking off with the Boxing Day test.
And then we play 2020s against Sri Lanka, which is one in Geelong. I'm actually...
Really?
Yeah, I had a mate go to me last year, and he's from Geelong. He goes, I guarantee you there'll be a 2020 team in Geelong. You know, he goes, they're pushing for stuff in Geelong. And I really? And I was looking it up, couldn't find anything. They played the women's All-Star Melbourne Stars versus Renegades last year in Geelong. They're playing this match in Geelong. So I think he's onto something with, I won't say anytime soon, but I think they're pushing stuff in Geelong, especially with the stadium, I think, almost complete. So.
Yeah, I think they're trying to build up Geelong sort of thing, which isn't a bad thing. It's always a good thing, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it takes it out of the major capital cities and whatnot. But yeah, so there was an interesting inclusion to the test squad with Joe Menes being included instead of... Joe Meny, being included for the squad instead of Jackson Bird. And which came as a surprise because I don't think anyone had really heard of him before this. Like, he hadn't been bad. He's like been playing on the domestic circuits for a while. He's 27.
So he's a nice age.
Yeah. He doesn't have a lot of pace. He's also pretty tall. And yeah. So apparently his bowling action's a bit more front on, which is always interesting. But yeah, he had a good Shield season. He had 51 wickets of that season, of the 2015-2016 season. So I think that's all right.
Yeah, it's quite average.
But then he had a decent, average. And see, that's the other thing is the fact that his ODI debut was the actual worst. It was the worst debut ever with 0 for 82. Oof. Yeah, he got cracked.
I look at this squad. It's pretty much, for me, it's pretty much the same squad that played last year.
Yeah.
Apart from few inclusions, all I know is I think everyone knew Mitchell Marsh got picked because the internet exploded with hatred towards Mitchell Marsh.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was happy to see him in. Siddle, I think it was the test against England only 2013 it was. I think Siddle didn't get dropped, so it might have been 2014. Siddle got dropped and they're like, his career's over. 2 years later, he's back in test squad after a strong showing in the test against Tassie earlier this week.
Yeah. And as I was saying, part of the reason why Bird got dropped is the fact that of his batting. Alan Border is not happy. The Australian cricketing great Alan Border who was himself a selector between 98 and 2005, had said who has told foxsports.com.au that we shouldn't really be thinking along those terms about how good our bowlers are as batsmen. Which is fair enough, because it's one of those ones where you need to take the wickets, the runs, not so important on the bowling thing. But, to be fair, if out of the two, if it comes down to the same style bowler and they're about the same in talent and whatnot and skill, you should go for the better batsman.
Yeah. Another one I'm interested to see how Mitchell Starc goes with his injury. I know I was watching the last the one-day final between New South Wales and Queensland, and they interviewed Mitchell Starc, and he still has trouble turning around.
Oh, really?
On his foot. So it's going to be interesting how he goes. Maybe he won't be their key bowler. I know he's been their key bowler, Australia's number one bowler for the last few years now. So maybe Mitchell Starc might, bowl probably a bit at the start and just see how he goes.
Yeah.
And if it's a bit sore, they might keep him off maybe for a few hours and then.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's back. He's back from because he had a severe ankle injury.
I think so. But yeah, so they've named the full squad, and it's Smith, Warner, Hazelwood, Khawaja, Lyon, Marsh, Manny, Neville, Siddle, Mitchell Starc, and Adam Voges. I hope Voges improves his average. I'm always keen on Voges improving his batting average. Considering it's at, I think, 91 now.
Oh, that's not bad.
I think not bad is an understatement.
Sorry, something I'm surprised with, right? I understand people who don't know cricket, and I understand that there's people out there that don't like cricket. Cricket's a very, you either love it or you don't type of sport. But the fact that I asked two people who Donald Bradman is, and they both had no idea. I felt insulted as an Australian.
Where'd you ask them, though?
I was actually during a conversation. It was actually my girlfriend. I was talking to her about the Australian note and how we should change the people on it, how not many people know who's actually on the Australian note. So I said people like Steve Irwin. I think I said someone else. And then I go, oh, Don Bradman. And she goes, who?
Yeah.
And then a few days later, I asked my mate about it. And he goes, who?
Oh, what? You don't know the greatest cricketer of all time.
Oh, I know. Sir Donald Bradman.
Yeah. Oh, well.
There's actually a good photo in the Melbourne Museum of him and Sachin Tendulkar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The three of them were made. One went to Bradman's family, one went to Tendulkar's family. Well, Tendulkar and his family. One was in the Melbourne Museum.
Oh.
Yeah, really, really good photo.
But yeah, so there's a lot of... So that's all done and whatnot. But the other issue is that other interesting factors... Shaun Marsh is also still an opener.
Is he?
Yeah, with Warner. Warner's backed him as well. Warner's keen to support Shaun Marsh. So Shaun Marsh has shown that he can make runs, though.
Marsh, I've never known Marsh was an opener. I know he was always down the order.
Shaun Marsh?
Yeah.
Shaun Marsh
Maybe
was
I was
always
thinking Mitchell Marsh.
Yeah, you're thinking Mitchell Marsh. Shaun Marsh was when he batted when he replaced Khawaja like at number 3 or whatever he bats. So yeah, there's that, and I think it is time for a song, and we are going
to talk about the A-League after this.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the A-League after this, as well as the FFA Cup, considering, the Melbourne Derby is the latest Melbourne Derby that just happened is, not a. This is Times Like These by Foo Fighters, but yeah, considering the last Melbourne Derby was actually from the Words. Good. Words from the FFA Cup. So yes. The FFA Cup final is also soon on, and we'll discuss that
November
later.
20th.
That was Times Like These by the Foo Fighters. You're listening to Sports Sex on Sin 90.7, and it's times like these that we talk about soccer.
Yes, or the football. Depends where you're from. And we know...
Soccer.
I know if you're from Europe or even someone who's not a big fan of AFL or NRL, and you go, oh, let's watch the soccer, they get really mad and like, it's football. And you see the eyes turn red and it's football.
Although one of my friends did mention, former host of Sports Desk actually, mentioned that in his mind, until the end of September/October now, it's soccer. After then, it's football. So that way you can't get confused as to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a fair reason. So it's football.
Like there was a comedian in America who was saying it about how when soccer came to America, they're like, oh, what sport do you play? Oh, football. Oh, no, we already have that game, where we kick the ball every half an hour or so.
Yeah, they don't do a lot of kicking into the football.
We'll call that football. And what do we call your game? Oh, you have socks on your feet. Soccer.
I don't think that one's the reason why, but
oh,
still.
No.
But yeah, you're right. The American football's a bit weird. But yeah, so FFA Cup, we'll get into that first because the Melbourne Derby just happened.
On Tuesday.
Yep, Tuesday evening, and Melbourne City managed to pull a win over 2-0 against Melbourne Victory, and so that's good for City. They're just proven to be the dominant ones.
Another win over the City. Also, another win over Victory, so that's 2 already this year.
Yeah, and it's like
2 more to go.
Yeah, who knows?
And even earlier on the last Wednesday, Sydney FC defeated Canberra.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be the Melbourne City versus Sydney FC, which is funny enough. Looking at the ladder this year, it's 1 and 2. Sydney FC is first, Melbourne City second. So it could be a thing to come when it comes to April or May.
Yeah. Wow. Melbourne Victory got 5 yellow cards, and City got 2, so there were like 7 yellow cards delivered in that game.
Yeah, it's probably one of the heated rivalry in Australia at the moment, the Melbourne Derby.
Yeah. There's a bit of controversy over one of the goals. Luke Bratton kicked it. It was whether or not someone was offside, and so an assistant raised his flag. But the referee overruled.
Yeah, and Kevin Muscat wasn't happy.
I didn't even realise you could overrule people.
Yeah, neither did I, because I know there's, I know in the World Cup, this is 2010, I'm going back a long time here, there was a goal and it was an offside. Like a blatant offside, no one called it.
Yeah.
And even they didn't even show it on the news.
Yeah.
They cut away. Because there was a lot, especially 2010 World Cup, I remember there was a lot of criticism of the refereeing. They wanted like a score review system.
Yeah.
We'll go into the round that happened. Adelaide United, for a team who's trying to defend their premiership, haven't won a game.
I mentioned it before, and I think I mentioned it last week when you weren't here, but it seems to me every team that does really well in the A-League then promptly tanks the next year.
Yeah, like I said, the only team to go back-to-back has been Brisbane Roar, and they did okay. They won 3 out of 4, actually, so that's not a bad...
Yeah. But yeah, Melbourne City, once again... the round's still happening, actually.
Yeah, tonight, Victory play Wellington.
In the final match at 7:50 p.m.
Yeah. Funau. I wish I could pronounce soccer names properly.
Are you talking about Fornaroli?
Fornaroli, yeah. He kicked 2. And so a 2-1 win to Melbourne Victory.
Yeah, 2-1 win over Adelaide United.
Sorry. Yeah, Adelaide United. Sydney FC got over Newcastle 2-0. Quite an easy win. The thing as well, heading into this round, there was 3 teams undefeated.
Yeah.
Sydney FC, Newcastle and Perth. And at the moment, Sydney FC have a perfect won for best start to the season in their history. They're looking all good. Playing the FFA Cup final on the 30th of November. I did say the 20th before. So at the moment, everything's coming up Sydney FC.
Yeah, everything's coming up Sydney FC for now. Who knows?
There's a lot of rounds to go.
Yeah, there's still it's only round 4.
Then you got the Central Coast drawing with West Sydney Wanderers. So it's the second week in a row where Wanderers let a lead slip. Last week they were 2-0 up against Newcastle and ended up having a 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
Central Coast managed since late 2014 since halfway through the 2014-2015 season, the Central Coast Mariners have not had a clean sheet.
I think you mentioned this last time, but yeah, you're right. They still have not managed to get a clean sheet.
If I was, let's just ask for a 0-0 draw, just to get that clean sheet going for them.
Yeah.
And then, well, not closing out the round, the last game so far, you have the Brisbane Roar taking on Perth Glory, which was a 2-1 win.
Yep.
With McLaren kicking a goal in the 31st minute. Then Marinowski kicking a goal in the 54th. And then Bonello kicking a goal in the 75th. It's been an interesting season. I do like the A-League more than the EPL, which I know it's probably an unpopular opinion.
Are you talking about Marinkovic?
Yes.
Who kicked the goal for Perth Glory? Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I do prefer the A-League considering how any team can win the A-League, where in the EPL, apart from Leicester City, which is a Western Bulldogs, Canela Shark, it just goes with the year. At least with the A-League, any team can win. At the moment, Sydney FC's first, Melbourne City second, Perth Glory's third, Brisbane Roar, Newcastle Jets, Western Sydney round out the top six. Melbourne City, Central Coast, Adelaide United, and Wellington Phoenix. So there's 3 teams about to win, which is Central Coast, Adelaide United, and Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah, who knows? I think, but that makes it good, and I'm excited to see what the results from the rest of the season. But yeah, don't forget the final game of the A-League is on tonight. And who doesn't love final games in an A-League? This is The Middle by Jimmy Eat World, and you're listening to Sports Desk on Sin 90.7. That was The Middle by Jimmy Eat World, and you're listening to the Sports Desk on Sin 90.7. And we're going to kick it off with a bit of sports from the US.
Yeah.
Currently we'll start off with the big news, and the World Series is currently happening over in the US with Cleveland and Chicago playing off against each other. Game 5 is today, and potentially the final game of the World Series.
Yes, it's a massive game for both clubs. I know. Chicago, hasn't won since 1908. Cleveland, 1948, and I don't think even really made many World Series since that. I don't see Cleveland losing. It's one of those things where a team's about to break their drought, and it's very hard for the team breaking their drought to lose.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Marty McFly was wrong.
Marty McFly was wrong?
Yeah, when he came back. But that was 2015 he came back and said the club won the World Series.
Yeah, no.
So it was already a year wrong.
Still super unlikely.
Yeah.
That's how unlikely it is. They were making jokes about it not happening in the future in the 80s. But yeah, the Cubs have to win this game to stay alive, and they might, considering this is the last game they play at Wrigley Park, which is their home game, which is their home ground. You might recognise it from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Is that the stadium?
Yeah, that's because they live in Chicago.
Oh, didn't even know it was in Chicago. That was such a good movie, though.
Yeah, John Hughes sets a lot of his films in Chicago. But yeah, so and then they also did like a screening on the 20th anniversary at Wrigley Park with like Save Ferris and all the signs.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, anyway, but then the Cubs go play the Indians in Cleveland
Game 6.
Game 6 and potentially 7 if it gets down to it. I know last year did the 2015 World Series went to Game 7, didn't it?
Pretty sure it did. Give me 1 second and I'll let you know. No. Kansas won 4-1 against the New York Mets.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, I'm thinking about Kansas. I think I'm thinking about Kansas City's.
Oh, in San Francisco?
Against
4-3.
Against San Francisco.
Yeah.
Which was their championship game. That's why I'm confused, because I didn't realize, I couldn't remember. I thought that was the World Series. I got confused. But yeah, so
that was the year before San Francisco and New York. No, the Giants. Yeah, that was 2014's World Series. It was 4-3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but hopefully it's a good World Series. I know I'm not a big baseball fan, unfortunately.
Yeah, I am. I'm pretty into baseball.
I've been wanting to go to the one in Australia because I live near the stadium, which is in Altona.
Yeah.
So I pass that stadium every day when I'm on the train, and I just see it and it's there. And I just want to go to it. Just want to go in that stadium because I've never been and I've always wanted to. Where the Melbourne Aces play, and I don't know, maybe I could watch baseball and enjoy it if I watch it live.
Yeah. I enjoy watching it on TV. The best thing about my favorite thing about watching it on TV sometimes is they're aware of the time. Is that because it's all from the US and they're super aggressive about their time and make sure everything fits in. It's like they'll cut things down. So like it's almost like a play-by-play. But I also watch full games on occasion.
Yeah. Another big, I wouldn't say it's a big news at the moment, but currently in the NBA, with 40, at the end of the first, the Phoenix Suns have a 12-point lead over the Golden State Warriors. And if anyone knows anything about the NBA, the off-season...
how many points did you say?
12 points.
I've got here 8.
What's the score do you have?
30-22.
Yes, I stuffed that up. 30-8. My bad.
That's 8.
Bad maths.
No, it's all good. But yeah, currently also going on is the Utah Jazz versus LA Clippers. Clippers in the lead, 82-64. Spurs 32-21 against the Heat. Spurs are the team to watch, apparently.
Yeah, after beating the Golden State, and Golden State had all the hype because they got Kevin Durant at the end of the off season, which was a lot of controversy. People weren't happy. People were happy. Depends what team you go for. And at the moment, they could be 1 and 2.
One of the guys on the Friday Sports Desk, Justin, was saying that he reckons that it'll be Spurs Cavs.
Oh,
yeah,
that wouldn't be bad.
He made that claim before the season, and he even started that he was like, Spurs Cavs. And I'm thinking he might be not wrong.
And let's go to the football. At the start of the fourth, Denver Broncos are leading the San Diego Chargers by 10 points, 23-13. And also at the start of the fourth, the Atlanta Falcons are leading the Green Bay Packers 26-24.
Yes.
And then at 11:30, so in 2 hours' time, Philadelphia Eagles play the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and tomorrow morning you've got the Minnesota Vikings playing the Chicago Bears.
The Minnesota Vikings are having a fantastic season, actually. I just looked at it before. They're currently, they're 5-1 with the Dallas Cowboys, and they got the New England Patriots, of course, at the top, like they've been the last 10 years. So nothing changed there.
Yeah, I'm a Patriots fan.
You're a Patriots fan?
Yeah.
Fan or bandwagon? Because the issue is not bandwagon, but the issue is from Australian liking international sports, the team that wins usually grab your headlines more. Okay,
so what it was that my mum has a friend who lives in Boston, and so they're Patriots fans, and they send over some of the stuff, and that's why I was like, I want a team to follow. Let's just follow this team that I know. It's also the same reason I follow the Red Sox.
Well, it's kind of like me. I go for the Boston Celtics because I'm Irish.
Yeah.
I go for the Green Bay Packers because they're green and gold, so the Aussie.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why I go for those two teams.
Green Bay Packers are like the only community team though, and I just consider in the NFL, which is crazy considering how much money football teams are worth. And just to have a community team still in that competition is insane. But yeah, I think we might leave it there for now.
And we'll go on to the big news of the week, the Melbourne Derby and the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, and you can catch that. We'll go into that in a bit. And this is Buddy Holly by Weezer. And you're listening to the Sports Desk on Sin 90.7. That was Buddy Holly by Weezer, and you're listening to the Sports Desk on Sin 90.7 with Liam and Alex. And we're going to talk back into going to talk about the Melbourne Cup, which is coming up tomorrow. The horse race that apparently stops the nation, but I just get a day off.
Which doesn't, because I used to live in the country town, and even then in Victoria, didn't get the day off.
Yeah, no, it's only a Melbourne thing. If you live in Geelong, you get the Geelong Cup Day or something.
I know Ballarat has the Ballarat show, so they get a day off for that.
Yeah, it depends where you are, because I definitely know, because my dad used to work in between, in between Geelong and Melbourne, and they're like, if you can either take Geelong Cup or Melbourne Cup, and he always took Melbourne Cup as being the public holiday, considering that's where he was from.
Yeah, I know. I think Melton, where I currently live now, Melton's that's like as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Like you step a foot outside Melton, you have to go to work on the Tuesday. But if you're in Melton, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's it's the race that stops Melbourne.
But I've actually heard things about other people in other states watching it.
I remember when I was there, they stopped. We watched it on TV.
Yeah, like like no one else gets the day off. Only Melbourne gets the day off, but people do pay attention.
At the moment, so the horse that won the Melbourne Derby, Prized Icon, is not actually one of the horses in the Melbourne Cup.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is that often or?
I wish I knew more about horse racing. 'Cause I don't think it is though. 'Cause I'm pretty sure the favourite for last year's Melbourne Cup took out the Melbourne Derby last year.
Oh yeah.
And this year's favourite is Hartnell.
Hartnell.
Yes, it's a favourite to take out the 156th Melbourne Cup. If Hartnell wins, he'll be the first favourite since 2013. So the last 2 years, the favourite has not won.
Who won in 2013?
2013. Sorry, I thought you were saying 2015.
Fiorente.
Yeah, Fiorente. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I remember this one. I just always forget. Like I said, I'm not into horse racing. So as soon as it's over to me.
I just love the names.
Yeah.
Let's look at the ones in this year's Melbourne Cup. Heartbreak City. Excess Knowledge.
Oh
yeah. Grey Lion. Keep thinking of saying Gary Lion.
Gary Lion.
So I know was there a horse or a dog called Gary Lion? I don't know if you watched the footy show, but there was something called Gary Lion.
Oh.
Or Hairy Gary. Rose of Virginia.
Yeah.
That sounds like a cool horse. But yeah, so the Melbourne Cup, it's race 7.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a kid, actually, with the Melbourne Cup, I just thought it was that one big race. I didn't know it was 7 races. I didn't know it was like race 7. And there's like another few races afterwards. There's a few races before that. It's just a race in this whole, just a day of racing.
Yeah, the only race that I care about. I always forget when it's on because it's on about 2-ish.
Yeah, 2:30.
Yeah, I always forget when it's on. I just go, when's the Melbourne Cup on? And I have to look it up every year.
I know it's not going to be the best weather though. It's going to be quite wet over in Melbourne on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows?
I've always wanted to go to the Melbourne Cup, but I've never had a fancy enough suit. You know, you can't rock up to the Melbourne Cup in trackies and a singlet.
No, you can't. I don't know.
Nah, you got to look fancy. It's the sport of kings, isn't it? Horse racing.
Oh, I've heard that said, but I am yet to believe it.
And I love the fact that Big Orange's trainer is not actually wearing orange. The person who's running Big Orange is yellow, well, very, very bright yellow and black, which is a very disappointment considering his horse's name is Big Orange. I think you should at least wear orange to match the whole orange situation going on there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, it seems to be like I'm interested to see what happens. It's something to keep an eye on. Give it a watch if you want tomorrow, or don't.
Yeah, you'll be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Second a horse wins, it'll be this person won. You'll be like, oh yeah, I thought that horse would win.
Yeah, and someone's always like that. But yeah, that's enough for us about the horse racing. And yeah, so just to recap, tonight later in an hour's time we've got the baseball going on, possibly the final game of the World Series.
Yes, we'll be here next. Actually, I think no matter what, we'll be here next week talking about the winner.
Yeah, here next week talking about the winner. We've got a couple of games coming up in the football. So that in soccer, we've got the FA Cup on the 30th. Did you say?
Yeah, 30th of November.
We'll talk about more about it closer to the day. We have the final game between Victory and Wellington Phoenix on tonight in Melbourne.
Sorry to cut you off. One thing about the FFA Cup, it will never be big until a local team wins. Or a local team makes the final.
Yeah, no.
It'll give the competition the push it needs.
Canberra Olympic made it to the semis.
Yeah, but then they've been trying to get a Canberra team in there for years. Well, Canberra's been trying to get a team for years. It's like Tassie in the AFL.
Yeah.
Always trying to get the team.
But yeah, there's a couple of games currently on in the NFL with Chargers versus Broncos. Broncos currently in front, 17-13. Falcons versus Packers, 26-24. Falcons currently in the lead. Eagles versus Cowboys at 11:30 today. Basketball going on. In half an hour, you've got the Kings versus. Right now, Jazz versus Clippers. Clippers 82-64. Suns Warriors hasn't changed. Spurs.
Yeah, it has. 31-35.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was about to say that the big game at the moment because Golden State are behind. Yeah,
Thought
Suns
so.
are 35-31, 7 minutes left in the second.
My site didn't update. 39-25, the Spurs over the Heat. The Bucks are losing to the Pistons, 34-46. Lakers start very soon. Wizards, Grizzlies, Mavericks, Rockets all start in about an hour. So keep an eye out. There's a lot of sport going on.
And we didn't even touch in the EPL and that. So.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's not much. There's a full day of sport lined up if you're really keen on watching baseball for like a few hours. But yeah, we're going to leave it here for the Sports Desk on this Monday morning. You can listen to the Sports Desk this coming Friday with Ben, Lucy, and Justin. And you can also tune in tomorrow to hear more of me and Liam. Coming up next is Schools on Air. Thank you for listening and have a great day.